Good morning, everyone. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com with your morning market outlook for Friday, the 13th. In the pre-market this morning, we're still waiting for some major economic numbers to come out at 8:30. So far, stock index futures have been trading above fair value this morning, and we've got commodities going in the opposite direction with both crude oil and gold trading lower on Friday morning. Now, on Friday mornings, I like to print off some weekly charts, which help filter out all of the noise from Monday to Thursday so far. We've got crude oil up on the week. Of course, it's come off its high from earlier in the week. We've got gasoline shooting higher as well. Natural gas is up on the week, but no change in trend there. Now, we do have a lot of inside weeks, starting off with the price of gold, which is down slightly on the week. Then looking at the price of silver, again, it's up slightly on the week, but having an inside week, so a week of indecision. Then we've got the Dow moving down. It's leading the major indices lower this week. Then looking at the S&P 500 and then the Nasdaq, which is holding up fairly well. It's been on a sell signal for a while now, and we're just down less than 0.5% on the week. Now the TSX is down just under 0.75%, bouncing off the lower channel line, so no change in trend expected this week. Then looking at volatility, volatility spiked this week and has pulled back, but still in a major uptrend. Then looking at the financials in the U.S., down 3.44%, making a new low for this move, trading back at levels we haven't seen since last spring. And then the Canadian financials also down on the week, second week of a sell signal, down 1.6%. And last up, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's having an inside week. It's up 3.44%, but certainly no major change in trend for Bitcoin. Now back to the daily charts, and the energy sector continued to move higher on Thursday with energy stocks in the U.S. up just under 1%. Energy stocks in Canada just up over 2% on the day. Now, we're talking about bank stocks and financials this week, and financials hit a new low for this move on Thursday in the US. In Canada, we did not take out the low from Monday, so it's still holding as support. Then looking at what's not working, well, some of the European banks are getting hit very hard right now. There's Barclays, there's Deutsche Bank, and then in the US, it's Wells Fargo that's leading the charge lower at this time. Now, we talked about the transportation sector with the Dow Jones Transportation Index made a new low for this move yesterday. The JETS ETF still holding up above Monday's low. And then looking at American Airlines, it wants to crack Monday's low. Air Canada hasn't got down there yet. And we talked about Southwest, and Southwest has come down to the 200-day moving average once again and may crack it today, or it may bounce. It bounced the other day. It may bounce today, but that is a big line in the sand for Southwest investors. Looking at the VIX for the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Russell 2000 all moved higher on Thursday, and so we haven't seen options traders give up on this decline just yet. As soon as they start heading lower, then we will start looking for buying opportunities in the market. Looking at the major index ETFs, starting off with the TSX 60, we're still holding Monday's low, so that hasn't been broken yet. You can see that if we start breaking down below 47.66, that would take us down to 46.88, back to the low from late January. Then looking at the Dow's still holding Monday's low, still holding the 200-day moving average. The S&P 500, the Nasdaq have not got down to the 200-day moving average yet, so far it is not in play, and that's probably keeping some bulls alive. Now, we've been talking about the Nasdaq trading in a range. So initially, it was trading in this range for the past 6 weeks or so, and recently we've got into a smaller range. So looking for a breakout of that range to tell us which way we're going next. If we do break down, then you can see the next price target takes us back to the lows from back in November, and that would certainly be a great place for the market to head down to and possibly turn around from. Looking at U.S. most actives, we'll just talk about a couple of stocks this morning. Yesterday morning, we had a new buy signal for both NVIDIA and Tesla. And of course, you're going to check to see how these stocks are going to open before you take that buy signal. And both of them opened lower yesterday, and I wouldn't have taken the buy signal at that time. There's nothing wrong with waiting for the next close above the upper channel line to confirm the first one. Of course, what would be very negative if we start closing below the lower channel line, which would just generate a new sell signal and totally wipe out the buy signal from Wednesday's trading action. Then taking a look at Palantir. Palantir's on a buy signal right now. Now, we've moved up. We almost got to the 162.50 last week. We did not hit that. I think we're less than $1 away from hitting that target. At the same time, if you go back to when this trend started, you can see that the flypaper channels, the middle line is just around the 160 level and falling daily. And here's what's happened. We drove up to that level and have stopped on a dime. So we got what we expected out of this trade. So we're certainly not expecting it to break out above the flypaper channel at this time. Let's finish off looking at the TSX most actives, and we'll just run through a couple of stocks here this morning. Of course, the energy sector was on a high note yesterday. There's Canadian Natural Resources up over 3%. Then we had a very slight gain for Cenovus, and then a little bigger gain for Suncor, up nearly 3% on the day. Now, what's not working this week? The gold stocks are not helping the TSX at all. And then we've talked about financials. Well, what about the insurance companies? They're all on sell signals right now, but one of them is getting hit a little harder than the other ones, and that is Manulife. And so, what makes Manulife different than the other insurance companies? Sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts. Right now, I guess investors are discounting its big exposure to the Asian markets at the moment. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. I'm finishing this recording before those economic numbers come out at 8:30. They could certainly scramble the futures after those numbers come out, but so far it looks like the market wants to do a little bargain hunting on Friday morning. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. If you're a member, I'll be back on Sunday. If you're not a member, we'll meet back here on Monday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.